He is known for his bold words, but as he addressed the nation for the first time over the protests, French President Emmanuel Macron tried to cut a humble figure.
I accept my share of responsibility. I may have given you the feeling that I wasn't concerned, that I had other priorities. I also know that I've hurt some of you with my statements. We want a France where one can live in dignity through one's work, and on this point we have moved too slowly. I want to intervene quickly and concretely on this issue.
Macron said his government would raise the minimum wage by some 100 euros a month and exempt overtime from taxes. Pensioners would also receive a tax cut. But many in the Yellow Vest movement remain skeptical.
Very nice speech, but I don't trust him at all, and we need proof.
I think he's getting scared. He's feeling the heat, and that's it. He's lost all credibility, and people don't trust him. He's got to go.
He took one first big step. He has many more to take. The increase of the minimum wage, that's a good thing. 100 euros is very good.
But it wasn't all concessions from Macron. He refused protesters' demands to reinstate a wealth tax and said he'll push ahead with plans to overhaul the country's pension and unemployment system. As for the Yellow Vests, they've already announced new protests for this weekend. No one knows whether the president's actions will prevent scenes like these from playing out across France again.
With me in the studio, I have Pascal Thibault. He's a correspondent for Radio France International here in Berlin. Welcome, Pascal. Now, we saw President Macron has made some concessions. He's announced some measures. But the question many are asking, how will he finance them?
Macron will probably have to increase the budget deficit of France. Maybe these measures will cost 8–10 billion euros. We don't know exactly, maybe some euros more. And maybe it will, maybe next year the French deficit will be 3.5%. So probably he will need some talks with Brussels because, of course, the official limit is by 3%, and France's deficit should have been by 2.8% next year.
So, of course, an increased budget deficit will create its own problems. But many of the protesters are saying already that they are not convinced by what Macron has said. They're not satisfied with the measures he's taken, and they're going to continue with their protests. What more would they like?
There are different reactions, as we heard, and as I heard in French media. Some are okay with some of the concessions Macron made. Probably the part of the protesters were more reasonable, and that's probably the hope of the president. But of course, the movement will not stop today or tomorrow, and probably there will be more protests on the next Saturday. We will see how many people will take part to that. And Macron condemned quite strongly the violences, so maybe his hope could be that some more reasonable people accept these concessions and took a larger distance to the violent people.
Now, are these protesters calling for a change of style from President Macron or a change of course?
I think both. Of course, Macron is the president. It's more or less a presidential monarch in the French constitution. He is hated from quite a lot of people. You can say today, and he was quite his arrogance, or what people thought it was quite arrogant from him, also explained that his image, that his popularity also is so low now. So yes, yesterday evening he tried to change his image, and of course it could be also a turn to a new politic with more social, with more social topics, more social measures, but without abandoning big reforms. That's also what he said today. Big reforms are on the agenda for unemployment and for the pension system.
Right, Pascal Thibault from Radio France International. Thank you very much for your thoughts.
Thank you.